we can maybe expect something a little bit special from them.
The unofficial order of finish for event number 20, the women's collegiate JV. Stanford University #1, Washington State 2, and Iowa in the 3rd position, followed by Oregon State University, University of San Diego, Tulsa, and Fordham.
Washington, UCLA, Oregon State A.
At the starting line
Alabama,
now, event number 21,
San Diego
women's
State,
collegiate 2nd varsity 8,
Kansas State,
Heat C,
SMU,
lane 1, University of Washington, lane 2, UCLA, lane 3, Oregon State University, lane 4, University of Alabama, lane 5, San Diego State University, lane 6, Kansas State University, lane 7, Southern Methodist University. The aligner's flag is up. Still quite calm down here at the starting line.
attention,
Attention.
go!
There's the start. Event number 21, women's collegiate 2nd varsity 8, Heat C. Very clean, high rate stroking going on right now. The first foul ball to push forward is UCLA in lane 2. Bruins have a 2-seat advantage over the University of Washington in lane 1. 3rd position, the Crimson Tide, lane 4. Fourth position, Kansas State University. 6th, Oregon State. 7th, Southern Methodist. Very tight race for first place here between UCLA in lane 2, University of Washington lane 1. Less than 2 seats separate those two lead crews. As we approach the 500-meter mark, Bruin Coxon calls for a power 10. And it's UCLA across the 500-meter mark first, followed by Washington, followed by Alabama, then Kansas State, Southern Methodist, Oregon State, and San Diego State in that 7th position.
On the water, event number 21, this is the women's collegiate 2nd varsity. Lane assignments, lane number 1, University of Washington. Lane number 2, UCLA, our current leader. In lane number 3, it is Oregon State. Alabama is in lane number 4. San Diego State University in lane 5. Kansas State is moving out of lane 6. And Southern Methodist is in lane number 7.
Well, this looks like a ding-dong race in the lead. They're still bow ball to bow ball between Washington and UCLA, who whichever crew is getting into the lead is the one that's just taken the last stroke, but we're just seeing at the moment, maybe, unless it's camera angle, the University of Washington start to creep into the lead. They've taken maybe 1, maybe 2 seats on UCLA. Stroke for stroke, UCLA and the University of Washington coming down towards the 1,000 meter mark.
If they keep going that way, Charles, we might need a micrometer at the end of this thing. University of Washington and UCLA battling it out in probably one of the tightest races that we've seen so far in the early going, at least. On the outside, Alabama is not going away. And then, surprisingly, on the far outside, it looks like Kansas State has moved up, as has Southern Methodist, with San Diego State trailing back and also trailing back Oregon State University.
We're seeing a very strong performance from the University of Alabama in lane 4. This is a relatively new program, the University of Alabama, in women's Division I racing. Their first varsity performed very well in the Cal Cup earlier, and we're seeing a very strong performance here from them in this race, and they currently seem to be occupying 3rd position. Slightly disappointing would be the Oregon State JV boat, the 2nd varsity. Certainly their performance at the moment is being eclipsed by their 3rd varsity strong performance in the earlier race.
Along the shoreline, it is the University of Washington. Looks like they've nudged ahead of UCLA. Then outside, as Charles mentioned, the outstanding, albeit rather new program from Alabama, certainly holding their head high here at the 2011 San Diego Crew Classic. Then outside, Kansas State has certainly gotten back into it. And trailing off the pace is Oregon State. On the far outside, Southern Methodist and San Diego State University.
I think the Washington have really pressed the accelerator in the 3rd 500, and they seem to have taken at least a 3/4 of a length lead over UCLA during that 500, and they look like they've upped the tempo and are powering their way towards the finish line as we speak.
Long, powerful strokes being exhibited by the University of Washington. Very typical of their program over the years. UCLA, powder blue, 2nd position. I don't know how much gamesmanship goes on in these 2nd varsity races. I'm certain that they want to show very strongly to their varsity coaches. So whether UCLA is holding back a bit or not is a little hard to say at this time. The University of Washington battled bow ball to bow ball up to this point, and now Washington has certainly clearly gotten the lead. UCLA is in 2nd position. Alabama gamely moving along 3rd, but they're now being challenged by Oregon State. Oregon State in lane number 3 coming up through the center of our pack. Then to the far outside, Kansas State making a nice run earlier, seems to have fallen back in this case, with Southern Methodist and San Diego State trailing. On the lead, this is the University of Washington. They seemingly toyed with UCLA through the first half of this race and then really kicked it up. It is the University of Washington apparently the winner, followed by UCLA in 2nd position. On the outside, Alabama has done a nice job of holding off Oregon State University. Those two will meet in a future race here at the San Diego Crew Classic. And then outside we go to Kansas, and the far outside is Southern Methodist and then San Diego State University.
Well, the Oregon State crew there came on strongly at the end, and maybe they have 2 boats which are very close to each other. They certainly gave the University of Alabama a bit of a scare in the final 500, but that was a very clean and powerful looking Washington junior varsity boat.
Once again, our preliminary unofficial results for event number 21, the women's collegiate 2nd varsity. University of Washington was the winner apparently. UCLA 2nd, followed by Alabama. Oregon State University, Kansas State, Southern Methodist, and San Diego State.
Two minutes.
We're getting the countdown at the start of our race course down near SeaWorld Cove. And we'll be starting here with race number 22.
Yes.
That is the men's collegiate second varsity. We'll be set to go here shortly. I'd like to mention once again that we have